If you want to produce superworms like these, watch this short video and I'll show you how. First thing you'll have to do is go to the pet shop or a bait store or your big super retail store and get yourself some superworms. Get the largest size you can, because I'll explain that later. Next, you'll have to get yourself some deli cups, something like these. Make sure they have holes in them so that the larvae can breathe. Maybe even some single storage containers like this that you can use for school accessories, things like that. And get yourself a small box that you can put them in. Next, you'll need to go to the dollar store and pick up a real cheap little storage container. Something not too big, and it can be shallow if you want, a little deeper. Poke a bunch of little holes into it. Put a little bit of oatmeal in it, and you're all set to put your beetles in it once they mature into beetles. You can also get some old paper towel rolls or toilet paper rolls and throw them in there for the beetles to crawl around on and whatnot. Okay, now you're all set to turn these superworms into super beetles. What you want to do is put an individual superworm into a deli cup. Go ahead and close it off. Do that with as many as you want to do that will fit in the box. And close up your box. Do not feed them. Do not give them any water. Just leave them in their little deli cups. Close the box off and stick it in a warm closet, a warm room, somewhere in the dark. And wait for them to turn into super beetles. Usually takes a couple weeks or so. You want to keep checking on them. And we'll go from there. At some point, your worms will turn into these little nymphs, and that's them beginning to turn into a beetle. They'll stay this way for, like I said, around a couple weeks, and then they'll turn into a beetle. Once your superworms turn into these, I guess the correct name is darkling beetles, you then can put them in your container with your oatmeal. Stick them in there like that, and you can give them carrots, some greenery, stuff like that. Clean out the old food at least every other day or so that the moisture doesn't make the oatmeal moldy and whatnot, and you don't get little mites and things that might be produced. And I'll go from there. After a few weeks, you can then either sift out little tiny mealworms and set them into a different container, because sometimes the beetles will predate on their own little babies. You can sift them out with something like this, or you can just pluck them out individually as you need them. And you need to let them grow a little bit if you want to feed anything larger than a tarantula sling or something like that. And that's all you really need to do. Now, I actually plucked all these out instead of sifting. There's different sizes, different ages. I've got a separate container that I put them in that I feed them in. They also can eat carrots and greenery and any kind of vegetable matter that would be helpful to gut load your animals that you're feeding. Now, the darkling beetles will continue to produce for several months. This is not a quick process, but it's an easy way of doing it. It takes several weeks for you to produce even the tiniest baby. But in the long run, when you keep producing them over and over and over and let them grow, you'll find it satisfying and cheaper than going to the store and more convenient than buying them all the time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And thank you. See you again.